Hi, my name is Chris Bazikas. I'm the Physical Education Specialist here at Roxburgh Homestead Primary School. Some of the problems we were experiencing were children misbehaving, children not focusing on skill development in phys ed, not wanting to participate, girls particularly not taking part in physical activity, resulting in sort of phys ed lessons that were less than satisfying for the children and for the teachers concerned. I'd like to share with you now the PDSA that we went through with the children and the outcome of that. So we identified the opportunity for improvement, which was in the grade 6 area. The initial conditions that we identified was that students were becoming disengaged during phys ed lessons, not putting in their best effort. Students were being disruptive, which was taking enjoyment away from other students in the class. There was lack of interest, so we had children not enjoying themselves, frustrated phys ed teachers, and so we thought that we've got to do something and find out what the real problem is. Okay, so to study the current situation, I drew up a correlation chart to measure how much children learned and how much fun they had, and got the children to plot where they thought that they rated. 1/3 of the students fell on or below the 50% scale. So we thought we'd look at what is preventing the students from learning and having fun, and what are the blockers to high motivation and participation in phys ed. We began an affinity diagram. So I got the children to brainstorm their ideas of what they thought was preventing them from learning a lot and having fun in phys ed. And they brainstormed their ideas on sticky notes, and then we grouped them. The issues that came up were that behaviour was a problem, classes were boring, there were no choices, the children didn't feel, and the weather was a problem, and there was a lot of time wasting going on. All right, so then we analysed the causes using an interrelationship diagram. The grade 6 children identified that no choices in the phys ed program had a direct effect on the boredom levels of the children and inappropriate behaviour. And it was interesting also to note that the children, time wasting also was an issue. However, while the children initially thought that it was me that was doing the time wasting, it was as a result of their inappropriate behaviour that time wasting was coming about. But the students took part in a bone diagram, and they brainstormed the current situation, what's happening at the moment in phys ed lessons, and the desired situation, what they would like to happen. So the things that they come up with, they wanted to choose what they wanted to do, they wanted a process regarding what we choose, appropriate behaviour, more minor games, they wanted a mix of skills and game time, effective use of time, and they wanted to know how they were improving and some way of self-evaluation for themselves. On the bone diagram and with some brainstorming, they decided that teaching kids would be great, that writing their own report, students choosing their own activities, making up their own games, and an agreed code of conduct. The next question was, how do we get to that? What are we going to do, start implementing to get to what we want? So we came up with multivoting. We would multivote at the beginning of a unit of work. We would have a lesson format, like a flow chart. We would introduce student coaches so that the children could organise their own skills training sessions. And there would be end of session feedback and reflection. Because the children wanted some structure in their phys ed lessons, we came up with a flow chart which outlines the procedure for each lesson when they come, and during the lesson what's expected of them. As a result of children wanting to self-evaluate their work and know what benchmarks they needed to achieve, we devised some capacity matrices. One was for gymnastics, so it outlined the areas that they would be working on, and they could then keep a record of their progress of how they were going in a particular skill. Another was a capacity matrix on the overhand throw, which breaks it up even further, and it actually identifies all the skills required in an overhand throw, to complete an overhand throw. So the children knew exactly what was required, knew exactly how to monitor their throw and what things to look for. From here, once all this was in place, the children were a lot happier with the way their phys ed lessons were going. They were given ownership of what they were doing. Basically, were running the phys ed program themselves with just a bit of guidance from me. But it also forced me to analyse the way I was delivering phys ed and just change my way of teaching and introduce new things to the children. Doing with the kids, not doing to the kids, and just involving the children in all that, in their own planning, giving them responsibility for their own learning, has just created a buzz in phys ed lessons. They're really excited now. They come because they've organised it. They come and show me their run charts, and they come and show me their capacity matrices and anything else that they've organised or what was required of them. So it's just been a great positive experience, and one that I hope will continue.